anybody good?
Yes.
Does anybody here really believe their sin's gone?
Yes.
Man, oh man, I hope so. We're going to get to the place where we do anyway. Singing about it's good, but it's really my hope and dream that we could actually get the mindset where we really do believe that. I mean, believing's a good thing. It's a strong thing, and we've used the word so much that it's like, you know, we've churched it up and watered it down somewhat. But I think about believe is a big thing. Like you all are here tonight, so you must have believed we were going to have church tonight, right? You didn't wish we were going to have church. You didn't drive all the way down here because you thought, well, maybe there's a chance. You believed it, right? I mean, because you got up and you drove down here, you had the expectation of it. Some of you have been here so many times, you don't even, it's like you're believing to the 10th power. You're not even believing anymore, you just know. It's not like believing is in trying to convince yourself, or I'm working up to the place where I'm believing this. They're coming. I'm going to drive down there and show up just because I'm believing that they're going, and because I'm believing they're going. You didn't even you just knew it, right? And so I'm saying, getting to the place where we're not even necessarily believing, we just know God and know the things of God and know the promises of God are for us and all that. So anyway, we've been talking about faith, and I just kind of feel like keep on going in that vein for a little bit more, because I found, me, myself growing up, I grew up in church, but I really went most of my life up until probably late 20s, early 30s before I really started finding out what grace was. And then once I started understanding what grace really was, to understand that by faith. I didn't know what grace was. I didn't know what faith was. Oh, I went to church. I sang the songs. I prayed the prayer. I did all that they said that I was supposed to do. But I really still didn't know anything. I just was existing, and I believed in Jesus. I believed He is who He said He is, and I believed in Him, and He wrote my name in a book. That's all I knew, right? So I found out that grace is all the good that He intends for us and has given to us to really treat us as if sin never existed. Grace is God's intent on treating us as if we've never sinned. Alright. I'm going to let that land on somebody. Because we've not heard that. We've not been told that. We've been told, yeah, you believed in Jesus, but now you dirty, rotten, no good sinner, you better straighten up and start acting better and trying harder. Right? That's all. So I'm saying, when I finally started understanding what He's really like, and that grace is there for us to partake of, that He actually wants us to live life in victory, and to actually be changed, and not just go through the motions and sing the songs, but actually be changed. And I just say, we believe in total victory here. I just say it's in this Bible over and over and over and over and over, that it said in Psalm 103, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, forget not one of His benefits." Do you know that there's benefits? I'm gonna gamble tonight. I'm gonna take a risk, okay? I'm gonna take a risk at sounding like what I'm gonna tell you is self-centered, but it's really not, okay? It's gonna sound that way, and you could take it that way if you want to, but listen, I'm giving you a disclaimer right now. I'm gonna take the risk of sounding that way, but it's really not that way. Because here's the reason. He's got to get it to you so He can get it through you. You're not going to be out here on the street handing out water if you ain't got any. Right? So we got to get some. We got to get some. And so I'm just saying, there's benefits for us to actually having faith in grace and accepting grace. And it's like undeserved, and we can't earn it. You don't deserve any of it. You can't be good enough for it. It's completely undeserved. It's completely unearned. It's just grace. If it was what you earned, it would be wages.
Right. Right.
Now, do we want to live by our wages, or do we want to live by grace? I can't speak for you. I can speak for me. Grace is way better. Way better. So I'm understanding now that, it's all over there. That it said, I would that you prosper and be in good health. That's 3 John. It's like all over the place. That Hebrews talked about that the same word was preached unto them that was preached unto us, but it did not profit them, for they did not mix it with faith. It's the intent of God to profit us. I'm saying it's His good pleasure for us to be blessed. I read last week, no, that was a copy probably, I don't know. But Paul prayed in Ephesians 1, and we read it in some other translation, I can't remember, was it the Passion or something? It said He's going to make your life an advertisement for His goodness. I like that. I mean, there's places where He said, I'm going to bless you so much that the unbelievers will be jealous of your God.
Yes.
And we've been so religious and had this false humility of saying, well, now I don't deserve all that. Only just, He's given me a home of heaven and that's enough. Now don't bless me any more than that.
Right.
Fooey with a bunch of that. I say, just go on and bless me until it tickles you pink. I mean, bless me so much where everybody there knows that it's grace. He ain't that good. He ain't got that much figured out. It has to be God blessing him. It has to be the hand of God on him. I mean, so much that they say, I don't know what he's got going, but I need some of it and I want some of it. It's by grace. Through faith. So I've just been talking about that last few weeks. I just feel like we're still in it. Faith, I think about faith, is actually believing that even when I don't have proof of it, or even when the evidence might even say otherwise. I'm believing in the goodness of God and His heart for me, even when circumstances might declare otherwise. Are you hearing me? Because we've all had circumstances, ain't we? We could say, you got to believe, first off, the very first gift that He's given us is the gift of righteousness, right? Romans 5:17, those that believe in the abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness will reign in life. That's what I'm talking about, reigning in life. Not just some religious bum sucking his thumb thinking, kumbaya, I can't wait for Jesus to get back. Let the devil whoop you the rest of your life. I'm done with that. That's not impressing nobody. That's hard to sell. I mean, really, Christians have been the laughingstock of the world for the most part. Because we've just been religious and we've not really found out who we are. We've not walked in the things of God. We've just been attending church. Have I got the right bunch?
Yeah.
I thought so. All right. So I'm saying, not just getting saved and praying the prayer, but being born again and changed and actually having faith to believe in. Because I've been given the gift of righteousness. Now you all might not believe this, but since I've received the gift of righteousness, I've probably not every single day lived my life completely righteous. I know you guys are having a hard time believing that. But I still know it. I'm going to say I'm past believing. I still know that that's the case because He has said that's the case and He gave it to me as a gift, and I'm believing that by faith. Right? You see what I'm saying? I'm believing that even though I don't have proof of it. Because I've seen people over and over and over again get stolen from and robbed from because they said, okay, we're going to give our life to God. I'm going for this. And then, next thing you know, they've stumbled and they fell and they failed in some area and then they're gone and they're running the other way and they're worse off than they were before. Why? Because they believed their failure, identified them, and put them on the outs with God. They didn't understand that faith is even in my failure, I'm still who He says I am.
Amen.
Even in my
Yes.
failure, I still have what He says I have. You see how that strips the enemy's power? He no longer. Man, why do we not teach this? I can fill this room with people that I know, I saw have an experience with God, and now are running and worse off than they were before because nobody told them that you're going to have to believe this by faith. You don't have to run from God the next time you fail. Because I got news for you. There ain't nobody in here walking on water yet. Right?
Right.
So I'm saying we're just developing this faith and growing up in this thing and watch faith transform our lives and get mature in this thing. Because I saw this, me and Rachel, we're like into fitness and we like working. That's kind of like our hobby. We do that, blow off steam and spend time. It's fun. We enjoy it. And so, we go to the gym. We see these guys in there. They're strong. I mean, these strong men. I'm talking about where they're just big and strong, and they'll go in there and they'll put so much weight on the bar and lift it one time. And I'm thinking, man, that's impressive. That's impressive. But what about doing a little bit less than that 12 times? Or what about, so I'm saying there's a place to be strong. Like last week we talked about strong, didn't we? I mean, you guys got cranked up in here. I had a hard time calming you down. And we talked about strong faith, living heavy one time, right? It's like, right? But I thought there's also a point to where we got to last a while. Right. I saw father of faith, Abraham, right? You guys heard the story? God comes along and promised Abraham a son, and Abraham's an old man, and his wife had never had children. She was barren, plus she was old, past the years of childbearing. So God shows up and says, Abraham, you can look in the sky and see all the stars, and that's how many offspring you're going to have. Right? He's already old, and his wife can't have kids. Now, if there's anybody that would have enough circumstances and situational evidence to think God is crazy cuckoo, there's no possible way for this. But it said Abraham believed God and it was counted to him as righteousness. Right? That's a whole nother thing. He changed his name and all this stuff. But I thought, here's what I'm getting at. We think, well, Abraham had faith, right? So he went and fasted and prayed and went to war, spiritual battle, all this stuff, and then out popped the sun, right? Almost 30 years. Almost 30 years. Abraham wasn't powerlifting one time. And now I found this verse. This is one of them verses nobody likes. Right? Nobody likes this verse. Nobody likes this verse, right? So, you know me, I'm crazy enough to get the ones nobody likes. This is in James. Man, most people don't even like the book of James. It says this. This is James 1. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. I mean, doesn't that right there make you mad? When troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. I saw this here where, old Peter, everybody knows Peter, right? So Peter, he sees Jesus walking on the water. Everybody knows this story, right? Peter sees Jesus walking on the water, and when he sees Jesus walking on the water, he has a crazy idea of, if he can do it, I must be able to do it. And Jesus says, well, just come right on. And so Peter steps out of the boat and starts walking on the water. Right? So next thing you know, Peter gets looking around at the waves and all that stuff, starts to sing. Jesus saves him walking in the boat. And Jesus says this, "O ye of little faith." Right? Now I thought, that's a little tough. I mean, I'm not criticizing Jesus by any means, but I'm thinking none of the other guys walked on the water. I never knowed anybody else that ever walked on water. I'm thinking, well, he at least walked on the water for a little bit, right? And Jesus says, "Oh, ye of little faith." I'm thinking, that's a little bit harsh. I'm thinking, because Jesus is on the earth right now, Peter is surely in second place. Right? And then so I got to thinking about this word little, and I looked it up in a Greek word, and I can't pronounce it. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but the root of that word has to do with time span. It has to do with time span. And so I'm thinking, Jesus is not saying, "Peter, you didn't have a strong burst of strong faith." But it didn't last very long. Oh. I'm talking about faith that lasts a long time. I mean, 30 years. Abraham was like 75 when God said, "You're going to have a son." You know, and Sarah was right behind him, and she'd never had kids anyway, not to mention being old. And not till they're in their 90s. 90s. And Sarah's pregnant, gives birth to a boy. And Abraham obviously is in the hall of faith in Hebrews 11. By faith, Abraham. You know, I'm thinking, he held on to that promise in the face of the most impossible, ridiculous circumstances that you could come up with. You can't come up with a more ridiculous scenario. I tried. You cannot come up with a more ridiculous scenario than a guy that's 99 years old and his wife, I think, is 90, somewhere in that neighborhood, and they're still hanging on. God said, "I'm going to have a son." I mean, can you imagine him telling that at the coffee shop? Or putting that on Facebook? He's one of them guys, you know, he's right on there on Facebook. God said, you know. What? He looks out of his mind. 30 years. That just gets me. And I'm thinking, man, we don't just have to develop this faith. I'm saying it not like we have to do the work to develop it, but we grow into it and let God do this in us, and the perspective changes to where we not only have strong faith for a moment, but all these trials that come and all these troubles and all these little things, they're little chances. What's James saying? Every time adversity comes your way, you might as well celebrate, because it's your opportunity to practice winning. And you don't get good at winning without practice. So now the enemy comes at me running the risk. I'm going to try to get him to fall, but I run the risk of raising him higher. Are you with me? I'm saying, I saw this too, Eric, you know, in Mark 11. It's in 2 or 3 different places. Jesus again teaching on faith, and he said, "If any of you says to the mountain, be removed, cast into the sea, do not doubt in your heart, believe what you say will happen, it will obey you." And I'm thinking, man, this is crazy, right? Jesus said, any of you, he even said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, the tiniest seed of all, right? He said, if you have that much faith, you can say to a mountain to just jump up from where you're at and get in the sea, and it will obey you. Thinking, I mean, does that have anybody else scratching your head? Because I've said, this mountain, this might be a mountain in front of you now. And if you're going to move a mountain, you need like that strong burst of 1 rep max, right? Strong man, strong faith, right? But I thought, well, what if it doesn't happen that way? And I just start small. And I pick up a rock and chunk it in the water. And then every day I pick up a rock and chunk it in the water. And every day I pick up a rock and chunk it in the water. And every day I chunk it in the rock, chunk it in the water. See what I'm saying? We give up too easy. We get all wrapped up in here and you hear me tell all this crazy stuff and it's God's will for you to be healed and it's God's will for you to be blessed, it's God's will for this, but then we walk out the door and it doesn't necessarily look like that and we say, well, it didn't work. Right? I know, not y'all, just me. It didn't work. It's not working. Oh, ye of short time span.
Short
Faith. What about getting in this thing for the long haul? What about saying, I'm in for the long haul? This is what he said. I know the circumstances might say this, but I'm going with what he said, and I've just decided that I'm going to believe it. I remember I first started learning this, because I believe, it's one of my passions. That's why I talk about it. You can talk about it in other areas as well, but passion for me is to see people healed. I love to see people living in health. I've come to the revelation that you're not going to convince me otherwise. It is absolutely the will of God for us to live in health. Living in health is better than being healed.
Yes. Yes.
The purpose of being healed is to get you to the place of living in health.
Amen.
Look, God has a plan and a purpose for us. God has an agenda. He wants to see His kids grow up in who they are and take this thing over. And He's not expecting you to do that sick, broke, and weak. So I've just settled the fact for me. It's settled for me. I hope you can settle it for you, that it's the will of God for us to be healed. Now, you're going to have to believe that by faith because He's said it over and over and over and over and over in this Word. Because circumstances have not declared that. Our track record has not declared that. I've got failures in my own family. I buried a mother, 39 years old, cancer. You can say, how can you stand there and say that you believe that it's the will of God for everybody to be healed when you've got a mother in the ground? Qualifies me to talk about it, don't it? Say, I didn't know. A thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come that you might have life and have life more abundantly. So,
Amen.
So if it's stealing, killing, and destroying, who's responsible for it?
Yeah.
Rocket science, I know. We've missed this somehow. It's like you can break it down to real simple. Bad, devil, good, God. Right? So I'm just saying, I've settled the fact. We didn't know. We didn't know, but now I know. And so I'm growing to the place. But I'm saying, you don't necessarily start out, say, okay, everybody in here, everybody tonight's going to start their healing ministry. Right? So I want everybody in here to go raise the dead tomorrow or watch tumors disappear and open blind eyes and raise the dead, right? Yeah, go. I heard y'all go. I'm saying we don't, unless He says so, I'm not saying that, but you don't necessarily have to start out there. You with me? You don't have to start out moving a mountain. You don't have to just jump right